Hello everyone, welcome back to the NLC. We're moving swiftly towards our second game of the day. We got KOVA up against Godsent in trouble. This is a big one at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, and I'm just not sure. I think this is kind of like a 50-50, even though only one person, me, went for KOVA. I think it's completely up in the air. Godsent have shown massive inconsistency. When they win, it doesn't necessarily look that decisive. And KOVA, I don't even know if they remember what it feels like to win. Like in the previous split, they just look so much stronger. And now having the core member that makes plays for them like Tiara, when I see him on peak sets as Lul, I'm like, it just makes no sense for me. So again, I'd just like to see Atlantis and Tiara moving around the map as one and trying to take it over.
I just want to add some context to this game. Right now, both these two teams are fighting to avoid relegation. Currently, KOVA, they are 2-11, where Godsent are 3-10. But here's the thing. Currently, KOVA does hold the head-to-head against Godsent. So if they're able to beat them 2-0 today here, well, they just have to beat them once, but then they would be 2-0. That would greatly increase their chance of avoiding relegation. So for KOVA, this game is pivotal in their survival in the NLC.
It's going to be vital for both these teams to pick up a win here, because you don't want to be going into those relegation places. The bans have all but come through, and again, I'm not really shocked by anything that's appearing at the bottom of my screen there. Again, Diana being taken away, but Nocturne really isn't being... Apparently these nerfs might have been more impactful on the competitive scene than we thought, because he's just not appearing at all at the moment.
I mean, it just seems like there's not too much priority on it. Remember, Gwen's still a strong pick. The same for Lee Sin, the same for Renekton. We see Lee Sin more in the jungle now than lane, and since the Tempest nerfs has come through. 6 up and available as well as a mage here, so that's going to be the first pick. Usually when you see the 6, that means you want to play for the top side of the map, and as it kind of just becomes a wave clear bot you can play for with the pressure you move around. So on towards the side of Gods, and I mean, there's still stuff you can use to respond to this. In Challenger's career, I was actually watching that with Chronicler. We've even seen them do AP Cockmore into 6 as a kind of counter pick.
And Gwen has gone completely unnoticed throughout this entire thing. Gwen does really well into Ziggs as well, because once she pops her immunity, the ultimate does not hit Gwen, because Ziggs will not be directly on top of her. So I'm just surprised that Godsent completely ignored it and they're prioritizing Aurelia. I mean, yeah, okay, she had a lot of recent changes, but I'm not sure in what sort of OP-ness she lands in. And judging from the previous game, I wasn't necessarily too surprised with it. And when Gwen is in the game, picking Rumble, I'd like to see what sort of composition Godsent want to pick. I don't know if it's like sort of like a piling, press R kind of composition, because this is what it looks like to me.
Just give me the Renekton into Aurelia already. You can move it around both sides. Like, it's super easy to punish there as well. Coming in with a blind pick like that. Thresh was also up and available, but it seems like they'd rather get the Nautilus. And then the Sejuani, this can be played in the jungle. It can also be played in the top side, so lots of flexibility coming into that one.
The top side Sejuani.
Oh, go on, Viper.
Oh, I was just going to say, the top side Sejuani is really hype. I'm enjoying this pick a lot. We've seen it on a couple of occasions here, but there's some interesting pickups and a lot of flexibility coming through from both of these drafts right now.
Actually, I would think that Atlantis will probably be piloting the Sejuani, which is an indicator that they want to put 2 melee champions both in the hands of Simply and Tatooine. There's a bunch of them. There's the likes of Yone. There's a bunch of Set. There's the likes of Set that is really, really strong against Aurelia. Renekton is still up and open for grabs. Nocturne is still up and open for grabs. Literally, there's so many melee champions that can be played in the top side that are so strong and complement Sejuani's passive so well. And I'm honestly not surprised the Set is being banned, because he's just so strong against any AD melee matchup.
Yeah, and right now from the side of Godsent, they're still to pick their AD carry just yet. So from the side of KOVA, there's a lot of priority picks. They can move away from that one. Varus still up and available here, obviously. So one of the stronger picks that we got here. Even Aphelios can be played with an immobile AD carry like the Leona, when you can already see a lot of the team compositions from KOVA is probably going to be easy to kind of, or not easy, but it's going to be kind of baggable. And even the Swain, if you want to, can be picked up in that bottom lane that we have started to see in the bottom lane as well.
Set and Samira both being taken off the table. Again, we can expect to probably see another marksman ban from KOVA, because that's been the flavor. Kalista and Varus, two that spring to mind immediately. Over on the side of KOVA themselves, that Ziggs could be going mid, it could be going bot. I imagine the mid lane Ziggs into Aurelia might be a little unpleasant, but there's the Gwen, which again, shocking that this one wasn't picked up since it made its way through bans.
Personally, I find it shocking that it's banned from the sort of Godsent, where they're the ones that can very well and easily pick it, because having a Ziggs supposedly in the bot lane where he farms a lot, but he falls a little bit behind, but then he waits to scale up. He has to be your sole AP damage dealer in the team. And with two tanks that deal a bunch of AP damage as well, such as the Sejuani and the Nautilus, you don't really expect for KOVA to go hard on something like a Gwen, and then their only damage dealer will most likely be a Bruiser. It's just not enough. Will be very easily itemized against, especially when you have Aurelia who can go Wit's End and Leona who can go Solari. So I'm a little bit skeptical with a Gwen ban right there. I think they could have very well thrown it towards, like, again, Renekton, Nocturne, Lee Sin, but we'll have to see if this will come to bite them back.
Yeah, Kai'Sa is a bit interesting, but it does follow the alignment of the Godsent composition right now, where you want to dive forward. I think Kalista could also have been a choice. That is something we have seen in the LPL, at least picked into the 6 to try and punish that pick as much as possible in the early game. Now, on towards the side of KOVA, I'd honestly love to see the Renekton here. Just keep it swapped around with the Aurelia. You already have the Sejuani. It's super easy to proc the Everfrost or Permafrost there. And it's Tryndamere. What the hell?
Tryndamere mid. Right.
We've seen this from Nita before, all right? We've seen Tryndamere before.
So this is so strong here. I'm loving the Mundo due to the fact that a major CC is going to have to be used on him to break his passive, which is like a Banshee. I don't know if KOVA wants to do that here. Does he? He does. Okay, so again, I find this very weird because the only CC that Darius has is a pullback, and he's gonna have to burn that to break the Banshee, and then you have no other way catching up to the Mundo, having a Rumble as your jungler who doesn't necessarily have any CC in his kit, and just works pretty well. I feel like KOVA can actually run members of Godsent down in the early game and just choke them back into their lanes.
She's right. This is a pretty decent draft coming out from KOVA, and I think it deals with a lot of the things that Godsent wants to do in that composition. A lot of them want to run into you. Well, Undying Rage on the side of on Tryndamere, the range you're allowed to play with on the 6. There's a lot of tools in your arsenal here to play into what Godsent is going to be throwing at you. So for Godsent, it's all going to be about that decisiveness. It's going to be about the pick potential you have, about the comp to actually get ahead, especially in the early game. You need to be ahead of the curve.
Plus, the funniest thing is that Kai'Sa wants to jump in, and usually Tryndamere wants to chase the opponent AD carry. He won't even have to go far. He'll have to look in his backline. I find the Tryndamere pick here so really beautiful.
Tryndamere just running forward and then being confused when there's not a marksman for him to kill. Well, we're going to be jumping very shortly into game, so we're going to be throwing over to our all-star casting duo. Guys, take it away. Whoa, shocker, it's still me. I don't.
That is a shock when you said all-star casting duo.
Oh, hey. I think you're good, Orcs. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I'm singing down a little bit because I'm a little bit too high for this camera setup. But yeah, hello. I'm subbing in for this game. Orcs, talk me through these two rosters, because we talked on desk and we had two very good analysts, but they don't compare to you. So why don't you tell me exactly what's going to happen?
I'm not sure about that. I think they did a great job breaking everything down. I really like the Tryndamere pick. I had some concerns. KOVA lacking the AD in their composition. The Tryndamere mid, though, I mean, to me, this is just a pick that is going to cave Aurelia's head in. It's like, I just don't see how you deal with this in the laning phase. One of the things with Aurelia is that she's good at going in, not so good at going out. And we kind of saw that in the previous game where there was that constant repeated bullying on Warzy. This game is perfect for that. Like, Ziggs will just be able to chill bot lane alone, throw bombs at the waves. Chara can roam up mid. You have Sejuani, who's great at setting up with melee champions. You lock down 610, you kill him 86 times. Boom, you got a fed Tryndamere, no one can deal with him. It's perfect. That's a good strategy. That being said, you know, if Godsent do manage to navigate the early game, they have some strong team fighting tools. And again, we'll have to see how things pan out, because if the Tryndamere falls behind, we're going to see KOVA really lacking in terms of AD.
Yeah, that's the struggle, because it's a really smart pick if it goes off. If it doesn't, then your whole composition looks a little bit lopsided and it's going to struggle, as we do move directly onto Summoner's Rift. KOVA on the blue side, Godsent on the red. Got a little bit of a Mundo car driving up to top lane. Had to hoping to show this pick off. But the Darius also coming in from Godsent as the response to Mundo. Is that something that we should have been expecting?
I mean, I can understand the theory behind it. You want a bunch of melee champions. Darius gets a lot of value there. But with the laning phase, the thing with Mundo, the reason why he's so good is he can just farm from a distance. You just use your cleavers and you use your E, and you don't have to interact with the enemy top laner. You can kind of just chill and be very safe and scale up. So I feel like Darius isn't going to get many windows. As Trouble was saying as well, you only have one form of hard CC, so you use your pull. That's where his passive gets procced. You go back to farming. That's kind of going to be top lane. Bot lane, similarly, you know, as long as KOVA play it properly, they shouldn't be going too aggressive. They should just be playing the defensive game, clearing waves, harassing when they can, but avoiding all-ins. And that kind of means, you know, KOVA has ideally a stable lane top, stable lane bot lane, and it all becomes about this mid lane. And if I see Outlandish and Shara putting attention towards here, they can really pop off, because this is how it's going to go, right? 610 will walk up to the wave, simply will spin on him and beat him up, and just repeat. That is literally how this laning phase will go consistently.
Which feels a little bad considering we just saw an Aurelia get pretty badly beaten up last game as well. So the champ's not getting... It's getting love from the teams, but not from their opposition, which is a little bit concerning. 610, of course, a player who maybe we need to see a little bit more from this season. A couple of mistakes have been made, but if they win lane here, with the support of Aesthetic, of course, because it may well be a 2v2 in the mid lane situation. Well, it could be a 2v2. As Aesthetic, do you need to be covering this Aurelia, or do you want to be trying to use the time that Outlandish is spending mid to spend time elsewhere?
I think you can put attention at any lane as Aesthetic. It just depends on what you can make work. It's kind of interesting. We've seen simply opt not to contest the wave. You definitely want to be give cover to Aurelia if he's forced to push. I feel like maybe this decision to let 610 push in was maybe because he didn't want to overextend early, but I don't really understand it. I feel like level 1 Tryndamere is really strong, and Aurelia is only strong if she can get access to the wave. If she's stacking up her passive, she's great. If she's not, she's useless. So I have no idea why this is the sort of lane we're getting where 610's actually winning, but, you know, I relent. The big thing is it allows 610 to place that ward in the Raptor camp. They now know where Outlandish is. It means he can play very comfortably in this position. He knows he's on the top side. He knows Aesthetic is also on the top side, so he feels comfortable to just keep playing up in the lane like this.
Just keeping the eyes on Aesthetic as well, just moving up. You've got Kubu moving on down. There could be an invade coming through. Simply is pushed into his tower as Rumble going to just force the Sejuani away from the blue buff and should be able to pick this up alongside the Darius, and that's pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty big denial. And again, this wouldn't be as possible if you didn't have mid and top priority. The fact you have both means Aesthetic can kind of just take over the jungle here. And it makes me kind of question, what was the point of the Tryndamere pick if you're not going to just bully Aurelia early? Because really, you should be able to. You spin on the Aurelia, you crit her level 1, which is really annoying, like this.
Oh, you spin away.
At least we're seeing it now, but you know, I feel like Aurelia level 1 is really weak. You know, you can't sequence your abilities together. It's very hard to stack your passive. The only way you're stacking your passive is that you auto in the wave, and Tryndamere is strong enough to force you off the wave. Tryndamere has one of the best level 1s in the game. Like, the amount of times you'd have seen your top laner against a Tryndamere who normally has Ignite, and they'll just kill your top laner outright. And obviously mid's a bit of a shorter lane, but you can still definitely look to bully. Now 610's TP'd back in. Outlandish is fishing. This is the window.
Yeah, he's looking for it. Going to be diving forward, forces the flash away from 610, and Aurelia gets stunned, but it's well away from danger. So no kill, but with the flash being down and teleport being down as well from 610, who had to use it to get back into lane, surely Outlandish will be keeping his eyes mid.
Yeah, I think we saw from last game what can happen to an Aurelia mid when they lose flash. It wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. So expect a return gank there. Ideally, we see Tiara moving up as well. The Zig's very good at achieving priority in the bot lane, so should be a lot of freedom afforded to Tiara to make these moves. And this is kind of the game plan we need for KOVA. They need that strength in the mid lane to really make their composition work. They need that AD threat to be ahead for things to function well.
We had a little check in the bot side. We're looking top now. Of course, Kubi was the one who actually picked up the blue buff on the invade. So has that mana, has that CDR, and
I think that I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. I feel like that might have been a mistake because of the passive bleed, because they were doing the camps together, or maybe they just gave that extra the gold over to Darius. I feel like Darius' mana costs are kind of reasonable, unless you are spamming your E every 2 seconds. Maybe that's the thought process here. But either way, Kubu's been having a pretty good time in the top lane. I was saying how Tui can just farm from a distance. Kubu was kind of zoning him off a fair bit, and he has suffered to a degree in that lane matchup, just a bit down in farm. But overall, still surviving, and obviously the Mundo will be really powerful in the later stages of the game.
Just impossible to take down, going to have so much healing, going to be really, really beefy, and we'll be able to pick up an extra wave as well. Just going to be able to close the gap, not entirely, but a little bit. Now, 610 back in lane again, and has hit 6. So both of these champions now have their ultimate abilities. Junglers don't have them just yet, but you've got to imagine that Outlandish is moving through aesthetic, is looking to come in to support. It's going to be a 2v2 as they dive into 610, who's going to get the start, but he's going to go down for first blood. Simply now can move forward. Remember, does have that ultimate, the undying range. Flashes forward, forces it out of aesthetic. The stun doesn't even need to come through, but it's first blood KOVA.
I'm not sure why Godsent opted into that. I'm not sure in what universe they felt like they'd win that, but it's like, you're not killing simply. He's got his ultimate. He's not going to die. And the only alternative target is the Sejuani, who is pretty tanky. You don't have the ultimate available to aesthetic, which give you a lot of power in return. And realistically, even if you kill Outlandish, I think simply just cleans you up now. In a bit of a gank top lane.
No ultimate from Outlandish, but the flash going to be burned by Kubu nonetheless. Darius gets out alive, but this Sejuani going lane to lane, just burning summoners.
Yeah, and I mean, it's what you expect when you pick a Sejuani. You have melee, mid, and top. We're going to replay off that. So 610 is very much baiting here for the play, but he's so deep. And it's like, okay, the play starts, they jump straight on 610, and 610's dead. You know, they weren't close to taking out either of them. I know Outlandish is a little bit low, but that was with all the damage coming through. And again, even if they kill Outlandish, you just see simply get a double kill off the back of that. So I don't understand the thought process. I guess they wanted to try and relieve some pressure. Overall, 610 hasn't been doing too bad in this lane. I expected things to be worse, but that definitely was not the play.
We haven't seen any dragons taken so far this game. Just looking at the neutral objectives, we've got Ocean.
Dragons are lame. That's why, Will. No one.
Oh, what about Rift Heralds? Where do you stand on Rift Heralds? Are they lame or are they cool?
Rift Heralds are pretty cool. All right.
Okay.
You know, you throw them down, you get some gold instantly. It's like, imagine playing for Dragon Soul. Why not just play for enemy team 20-minute FF? That's the real big brain move.
So no objectives being taken this game. Orcs won't allow it. It's just going to be about killing. Which, I mean, when you've got a Trader...
I think they'll lean towards it. The thing is, I feel like Outlandish not really in a position to solo as a Sejuani, and Aesthetic not really in a position to do so, because mid lane is scary with the Tryndamere, and bot lane you haven't had priority. So it's essentially been a difficult scenario to find that window. But for now, you know, we see this big movement coming up towards top side, and Snowmy can just go bot lane. He is completely fine, isolated the bot lane. He can clear waves easily. He's got a ton of mana in his pockets. He's going to have his ult soon as well. So they're feeling confident to start this up. Bear in mind, Snowmy does also have TP. But on the other side, Godsent are looking to contest this one. So what KOVA could do if they don't... Actually, I think they're going to get this time, so it doesn't even matter. They should just get this. Yeah, they just need to disengage.
Oh, the red carpet is down. Can Godsent find anything off the back of it? Outlandish is the only one who's gone not up into the jungle, so could be called out. A lot of people going to be apprehended back in and will be the sacrificial lamb. Aesthetic picking up the first kill of the game for Godsent, but the Rift Herald was secured and is in the pocket of Simply. That's a bit strange.
Yeah, I mean, someone had to grab it. He got it. He got out. Not really bothered. They only get the Sejuani, and I was hoping we'd get a bit of alone time in the bot lane on the turret from Snurmy, but he was only picking up one plate there. I think maybe concerned about the Kai'Sa diving in onto him. But I think he probably could have got 2 plates. Ziggs does a lot of damage to towers. And I feel like if you trade 2 plates and get the Herald and you lose 1 member, massive win, but it is only the 1 plate coming out from Snurmy.
Now, yesterday, I watched through the matches yesterday, and Xander was talking about the new items at Hullbreaker, and Goldberg said, no, there's no champions on the map that really want to be grabbing Hullbreaker in this game. Listen, hear me out, Orcs. Hullbreaker Ziggs. Siege Master? Yeah?
You're doing so well, Will. Thanks for coming, though. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
I think it would be fun.
Yeah, okay. You know, why don't you go AD Zig so he throws his little bombs really fast?
Well, he's playing bot.
But it wouldn't be good.
AD carry.
Right? Why do you need Hullbreaker when you one-hit turrets late game? Just get another AP item. Get a Lichbane if you want to really kill towers. You auto a turret and do like 7 million damage. Please, if you don't have
Hullbreaker, then your minions aren't hurting the tower as much.
You don't even need minions. You do so much damage. You just walk up and throw a satchel down, boom, gone. There you go. Right? please never suggest to me Hullbreaker Ziggs ever again.
Okay, I'll think of something new. I'll think of something new and better to bring up next time. But we had a little bit of a lull in the game. The Dragon's still just sitting on the map. As Orc said, it's not a fun objective. Ocean Dragon especially is a little bit lame, so not going to see anyone moving towards that one. But, you know, it's you know, Outlandish has come bot to clear out the bot lane and steal all Sturby's farm. I'm not really sure why, but has turned up. We could actually see a fight.
The pressure. They want to go Herald Satchel play, but they kind of need... Well, they have the mid laner here, so, you know. If they throw the Herald down, Ziggs can just finish off a tower with a Satchel, which is a really broken combo. But you can see Godsent have responded. They're in position to react, so they'll just send it back and away. And that is one of the issues, unfortunately, with Simply being the one who has the Herald. You'd obviously love the jungler to have it. Now, they are looking for this dragon. I think KOVA might just give it over. It's only first dragon at 11 minutes. Soul will be very late this game, so I can understand there not being too much of a concern, but yeah, that's gone. Right, TP mid. This is Snurby. They're going to kill this tower. So watch, it's gone. It's gone. That's why you don't need Hullbreaker. Will.
It's not gone though. Look at that tower. It's still standing strong. First plate has fallen. There's the charge going through Snurby. Keep your eyes on the Ziggs because he's the one that wants to get executed. But look, he's been forced to back array. If he had a little bit more health, maybe some AD.
Stop talking, please.
Perhaps.
It's one more wave and it's gone. He doesn't need Hullbreaker.
We wouldn't have it this early anyway. He hasn't even got his mythic yet. Come on, Orcs. Head in the game. It's not a rush. I'm not trolling. Come on. But yeah, he should be able to pick this up pretty easily. That'll be a decent goal.
I mean, they boarded him off, so I think credit to Godsent for kind of keeping him at bay. But you want the Ziggs to get this tower before the plates go off. That's the main thing. You know, the fantasy for Ziggs is that you just rotate between lanes and you take every plate in the game. That's really when you use Ziggs gaming. That's Ziggs power gaming for you. But for now, he's playing it safe. He's scared of the engage from Godsent. He's farming from 8 miles away. But the resets are coming in. I really want to see KOVA lean mid and get this tower down, because it's got to be like one empowered Ziggs auto and a Satchel, and that thing's gone. And actually, I would like to see what Snurmy's maxing second. I think it should be... it's okay, it's Minefield. That's, you know, that is really lame, I'm going to say. I'm a fan of the W max second. I feel like the Minefield, you don't get that much value from maxing it. The extra slow is minimal, and it's mostly the utility aspect of it. The damage from it is mostly the scaling. The thing with the W is you can do a lot of burst, and it's very consistent to hit the W. You can throw it at someone and just pop it instantly. Hard for people to avoid. And also, like, a shorter cooldown means a lot more safety for you. It also does more damage to towers, so lots of good things, in my opinion.
Pops Ghost is thinking about going back in, but has decided against in the end. But we could be seeing an all-out fight. Remember, Simply does have ultimate. Ionia still stands, but Simply will be able to dive away. Outlandish throwing the ultimate down just to make sure that Godsent don't have a route to follow.
Tower... Again, this is a Tryndamere, you know. It's not happening. It's not happening. But I respect the attempt. But Godsent kind of fishing for things, not really finding it. And KOVA once more playing around the Tryndamere, but this means they're not going to get that mid lane tower.
Yeah. It's nice double stomp from 610, just to keep Tiara at bay.
Tiara should have gone for the flash ult in that situation, and then the ult follows him after he flashes, and then you walk up a Q. Maybe wasn't quite in range, could have been the thing, but either way, we see KOVA spending a lot of time bot lane. As a result, they're not able to do anything mid, so the plates will just time out, and now they're looking for a dive.
Oh, Snurby might be caught out here. I don't think there's any way out. Zvene going to tank the tower so everyone can get away. But easy kill for Godsent, and they've got the gold lead, even though it looked like KOVA the ones making all the play for the plates.
Yeah, no wave there, which obviously wasn't ideal in that situation for Godsent, but still able to make it work because Ziggs, maybe a misuse of the W there a little bit too early, didn't really do anything apart from knock you away from the tower. But either way, no protection, and even without a wave, very easy for KOVA to capitalize. So good moves from Godsent so far, but the game's still fairly slow. You know, we had the late dragon, haven't had too much fighting, just occasional pick here and there. A lot of farming between these two sides.
It's been a little slow, the opening to this game. 15 minutes on the clock, of course, Pates are off. No towers being taken. The mid lane one is the closest, and as you say, it's still probably a Ziggs auto and Satchel away from going down, but a little bit of a gold lead has been gained by Godsent, who have started to pick up a couple of mythics. Of course, the Irelia going for that Blade of the Ruined King first means that they've also picked up their first item. But if you're on KOVA's side, are you a little bit worried by how this game's progressing, or are you pretty happy?
I mean, I feel like you wanted to put the Aurelia in the dirt a bit more in this situation. I feel like you wanted to capitalize on the Herald and get more towers. I feel like you're still okay, but I would have liked a lot more because right now you're in a scenario where the Trinity isn't really ahead, and he's your big AD threat, and you're kind of really reliant on the Ziggs to be putting out a lot of your team's damage. I think it might end up being a tricky one.
It seems like teams today, we saw it last match, we'll see it this match, maybe not as proactive as we'd potentially love to see. It's just been quiet farming, not making unforced errors, which is always good in League of Legends. But it does mean that the games have been a little bit slower until we're going to see a big burst of action around a very important objective. Mountain Dragon will be our second up in 20 seconds. Second Rift Herald's already been secured, and this time it's in Outlandish's pocket. But KOVA just going for a little bit of a trade, not really got that much kill pressure on the Mundo, but still wants to cause as much damage as possible.
Yeah, I mean, the Mundo can just heal up. Also, I mean, I think I've seen people going a bit of like some people have been going Triforce, some people still going Stride Break on the Darius. But without the dash, it's like it's so much worse for him. Like the slow in when you're in range is like, okay, you know, you're already in melee range as Darius. That's kind of where you want to be. The dash was such a massive factor for Darius there. We do see Godsent start up the second dragon. Outlandish potentially looking for a steal. This could be a good flank angle coming out from the Tryndamere.
Yeah, keeping it on. It stun comes down. It will be secured by Outlandish, who's looking to get the fight going in earnest. 610 throws out the ultimate. So much damage coming on through. Members of KOVA chasing towards 610. But look in the middle of the fight. There's a Tryndamere in there somewhere. He's gone undying, but he still probably will go down. Cannot escape. 610 falls as well, but Godsent now going to collapse. Nice snipe. Kills Snurmy from Yuso, who picks himself up a cheeky double in the fight. And we'll be able to move towards the mid lane. Messy fight with Rift Herald chasing bot, but it looks like it was just about Godsent favored.
Yeah, I mean, messy for sure. I definitely agree with that statement on that one. It just felt like there wasn't a clear plan coming out from the side of KOVA. We can see, you know, they wanted to engage a little bit early, but they don't have the Mundo coming in that soon. They don't have the Tryndamere that soon. Godsent are fishing for this engage. They missed the ultimate Sejuani, and then they end up in this mess with this equalizer on top. And 610 starts really challenging Snurmy. And like, I feel like the Sejuani Tryndamere combo could have done so much there, but they kind of just get dismantled and aren't really able to find anything. I feel like those close range fights where, you know, maybe a couple of ults go with are where KOVA could excel. I think the Tryndamere is pretty strong. You have the Sejuani, the Mundo to back them up. But they kind of just got decimated on the opener. Now, Yuso with a lot of gold in his pocket is feeling pretty confident to shred through these frontliners of KOVA.
I mean, when you got Rumble ult, Aurelia ult, and Leona ult all landing, that creates a really, really unpleasant teamfight environment for KOVA, who just, when members are burning through solo, yes, the Tryndamere was able to survive for a couple of seconds because of that ultimate, simply wasn't getting that much work done in the backline. And yes, Snurmy gets away for a little bit, but then he gets sniped out by Yusa, and now KOVA.
It's the battle range. Walk up.
He's not feeling it, but there we go. Now it goes down, but he could be in a lot of trouble. Aesthetic going to burn him below. He takes the tower, but loses his life. As Tiana should be able to get away.
I want to replay that of that because I swear I had the marker above it before he walked up to it. I don't know if it's a spectator bug, but I saw the marker above indicating if you satchel this, it will die. I don't think you have to walk in a melee range to do so. Either way, Godsent looked to punish, and now gonna answer back. Gonna take this mid-tier one. I think they need to be a bit cautious.
Ooh, engaging onto Zvene. There comes the red carpet. Simply burning low, but goes undying. Once again, nice one coming out from Outlandish. As Tetu pretty much untouched, but the Mundo needs to be in the mix. He's just not there. As Aesthetic burns down the Tryndamere. KOVA hang up with their mid laner to dry. No one else committed.
I feel so bad for Simply. Like, he's in there. He's trying to do stuff, and the rest of the team are just watching, it feels like. Like, Tetu is full HP. Outlandish, pretty much full HP. And I mean, I know the Ziggs isn't there, but they like there was low health targets and they're kind of just staring at them like, oh, well, that looks like fun, but we good. I don't understand it. Like, either go in as a team or don't go in. But this split play just seems so messy coming out from KOVA.
Tetu back in the top lane, has come back from his business meeting mid. Wasn't very successful for anyone on the KOVA side, but keep your eyes peeled. KOVA and Aesthetic hanging around in the bush, looking to get on to the Mundo, burning him low. A lot of damage coming on down. Won't be able to pick up that box to get some health, and actually, it's just going to be all she wrote. KOVA and Aesthetic easily picking that one up, and should be able to grab the tower as well.
Yeah, and feels like Godsent are starting to snowball things pretty heavily now. Look at that replay. So he's got the marker above it before he autos.
I
don't know if it's a spectator bug or just a mistake from Snurmy, but in my mind, you just throw the satchel from miles away and just piece it out. You detonate the tower without having to go in melee range, because that was questionable. And then again, this fight, you know, there's this massive divide between KOVA. Like, Simply's like, I want to go in, I'm Tryndamere, I'm hypey, and the rest of the team are like, just sitting back and letting it happen. It's kind of confusing me, I won't lie. But yeah, we do see him applying some side lane pressure here, but now he's being collapsed on.
Yeah, tower might go down to the minions, but he's going to be chased away. There's the ultimate coming on down. That has to flash away, but Kubu and Sveni will be able to hold him in place. He's going to go down to the Darius, and the tower still stands.
I mean, you can see here how much damage the Tryndamere does, how much of a threat he is to these melee champions on Godsent and the short-range comp. Imagine if it wasn't simply permanently like 1v3, 1v5. I feel like KOVA have the tools, they're just not like using them.
I mean, in that last fight, it was very much a case of, you could see that the line was being drawn by Aesthetic's ultimate, but come on, you're Sejuani Lawless, right? You can step over a little bit of fire.
Wait, I don't mind if they don't go in, but why is Simply going in, the rest of them on, you know? That's the thing that bothers me. Either everyone go in and commit to the fight, and maybe you come out favorably, maybe you don't, or just everyone back off. But it's like there's this huge split between the team, it feels. Simply feels hypey, and everyone else just feels like they're not. Put it simply.
To put it simply, Godsent picking up their third dragon of the game. It's Infernal. It's an Infernal Rift, if you hadn't already noticed at home. 610 able to clear out a tower bot, but Godsent, in the past few minutes, I don't know whether it's a case of KOVA looking disjointed, causing themselves problems, but they've taken themselves a pretty comfortable lead in this game, and looking at the champions they've got, it's very easy to see them trying to take this one all the way. You got Aurelia, you got Darius, you got Kai'Sa. There's damage across the board, and KOVA are really struggling in fights.
Yeah, I mean, you have Kai'Sa with 3 tanks on the enemy team. That's always a good time. You've got, because she's just going to be able to shred through them with a passive, and they can't really challenge her that well. You have Aurelia who scales so well right now and has had a free laning phase, essentially. A lot less punished than I expected to see. Rumble's super powerful. Darius, ton of melee champions, he's fine. Godsent are really chilling right now in this game.
Tattoo needs to be a little bit careful. Flashing away from the ultimate, 610 not going to chase any further. But now the Mundo just been sent back just a little bit. Baron is now on the map. Is there a team that can take this one right now, 23, 24 minutes in? I know Yusa's probably going to shred through it.
No, honestly, both teams could. Like, that's the thing with the Tryndamere. You have Tryndamere and you have these beefy tanks. That's all you need. Just one tank and a Tryndamere, and you can take that pretty quickly. But I don't think Godsent gave him that window, and Godsent do this Baron pretty fast, especially for Aurelia and Kai'Sa out there. But for now, KOVA look for the fight here.
Ooh, they have been hit by the ultimate, simply slowed up. It's going to be able to heal all the way back up. But now Leona could be looking for the engage, only lands the slow onto Outlandish, and that is it. So ultimate's being burnt by Godsent. Not able to get anything going though. So that's going to move back towards the bot lane, towards the mid lane, and try and grab themselves a little bit of control.
At least they're on the same page this time. KOVA look for that fight, but unfortunately not able to connect onto any targets. I am concerned now though, because the goal lead is so big that I think in a straight 5v5, they will just mince you. Oh. I thought he might have vision there, just the way he like dashed over the wall, but apparently not. But KOVA will take this window. They've seen the reset. They're going to try and get control of the area.
Going to be able to clear out all the vision that has been set up so far by Godsent.
They want to fight now, because Dragon in 2 minutes 40 is not going to be a fun time. The Dragon fight, if the enemy team just wins the smite, they have Infernal for the rest of the game, and it is so strong. So ideally, they want something to happen now, but I'm not sure Godsent will give them the window unless it's favorable for them.
I mean, Godsent just picking up everything that they need. They're hanging around the area as well. And yeah, KOVA's the one that has a little bit of positioning there, but the only ward in and around Baron, really, the only red ward, I should say, belongs to Godsent. So KOVA, they're on a little bit of a clock, 2 minutes to be precise. Is there a world where they'd be happy to handshake Infernal Soul for their own Baron?
No. I mean, actually, to be honest, when you're in this position in the game, you might be forced to do that. but you won't be happy. You won't be having fun, but you might end up in a scenario where you have to do so simply because you're so far behind. You can see them moving on to the dragon side of the map, but here's the thing: is Godsent are under no pressure to take this dragon, because if KOVA get this dragon, it means very little. So can see them. Oh, 610 in trouble.
Yeah, gonna be stunned up. Only lands his own onto the Tryndamere. Gonna get taken up under tower, but will fall tattoo there at the end. But everyone surviving from KOVA. Members of Godsent are moving around. You got Yusa and Svene in the wings. You got Aesthetic under the tower, but it will crumble to Mundo. Snipe miss from Yusa, but teleport coming through. They really want to take this fight. Gonna be able to hit the Zenith Blade on Simply. He's already used his ultimate, so he's gonna go down. Yusa unstoppable, turns his attention to the tanks. Can they get on top of him? He's been exhausted, but there comes the red cover. He's gonna go down in the end, though, as members of Godsent look to clean up, avenge their fallen comrade. Svene goes down, but the double kill from Kubi. He's gonna be able to chase on Aesthetic, look to burn low as well. This fight is a lot closer than we initially thought. There's so much damage coming out of Kubi. He goes for the triple, looks for the quadra onto Snurmy. A Satchel might be able to get the Ziggs away. He's going to put it on the slow field, but Kubu just stepping around it, chasing on forward. But Godsent win the fight, but it looks like they're not going to be able to grab the dragon just yet as Snurmy gets away. Yeah,
really important Snurmy teleported in, because you can see the thought process there from Godsent. They kill Simply off the bat. No ultimate available for the Tryndamere. And then they're like, okay, it's 3 tanks, this is go time. And Kubu had a very enjoyable experience there with a bunch of melee, bulky champions he could just decimate. We'll see the replay here. So obviously they go for 610. Unfortunately, end up having to use the ult here for Simply. Ends up taking a lot of tower hits. Ideally, wouldn't have to use that one, because now, when this re-engage comes in, here's the game plan. Kill the Tryndamere. They have no carry. Very easy to do. This should be a 1 fight, but we do see Snurmy who TP's in, and he's actually able to make this a competitive encounter, because he blows up Yusa almost instantly, and then he's throwing down constant damage throughout. Does manage to evade Kubu at the end there, but this Darius is scary.
Dragons to be started up. KOVA are the ones who are trying to grab it. As you say, Godsent don't need to overcommit, so that's the Infernal Soul off the table for 5 minutes. It's KOVA out.
Yeah, I mean, I think just Godsent would struggling to deal with the minefield. I feel like maybe you should have just had Kubu walk through it, and then the rest of them can follow. But either way, I guess scared of the choke point a little bit. And we see KOVA able to pick that dragon pretty easily. I think the resets maybe a bit slower from Godsent led to that advantage there. Obviously, when the replay didn't get to see everything. And KOVA navigating this one okay, all things considered. When you're 5,000 gold down, the fact that they haven't lost yet is promising, we'll say. And Snurmy's putting out a ton of damage, you know, and he needs to be, because this is a 2-carry composition. I actually don't really like Tatui's build as well. This is a very low damage build. I would like to see a Titanic Hydra just so you're doing something, because the thing is, like, if you lose Snurmy or Simply, there's not much damage left over. And, you know, I've seen a variety of builds for Mundo. Sunfire has more damage than the build he has. Titanic has more damage than the build he has. He doesn't have the output, and now they're looking for this. No flash on Outlandish, and you just Q. That's a long cooldown.
Simply over the back. Nice ultimate coming out of Outlandish. Who's going to be able to get on top of the Baron? So much damage coming down from all members. It's going to be taken and secured by the Rumble as the fight kicks off. And early Tatui doesn't have the damage, but boy, is he tanky running around the Godsent lineup. But the rest of his team is being beaten up on the side. 610 is going to be able to take down Snurmy. He's going to be able to get onto Tiara. Mundo can't find a way out. No car available this time around, as Tiara will actually be able to get away. But Godsent take the fight and take the Baron.
Yeah, very messy fight there. They just weren't able to find the follow through, and Kubu once more, 610 as well, just able to do so much damage in this fight. The gold lead is massive. The Baron secured. I like the ideas coming out from KOVA with the draft, but it just feels like the execution isn't there. I think they should just be able to defend off the back of this. But it's just still going to be a ton of damage to their base from Godsent right now.
Yeah, mid tower going down on the inhibitor. The inhibitor going to take a beating as well. Tiara is up. Members of KOVA are respawning, so we'll have to see how long Godsent want to stay. They're going to take the top inhibitor tower and the mid inhibitor before backing away. 30-minute mark, and the base is cracked.
Yeah, and it's 2 minutes before you till that dragon. There's still a lot of the Baron left over for Godsent to use. They're going to reset, spend all their gold. But a pretty substantial gold lead at this point, 10,000 up. It's looking rough, and we'll get the replay of the fight. So you can see Outlandish very focused on getting the pit, and Simply here. So he dashes in, dashes out, and Yusa just keeps playing with him. Eventually he does get him, but you can see this melee frontliner of Kubu and 610 just jump straight onto Snurmy. and Tsunomi's basically dead now. You have no other damage outside of that, and it's like the fight is over, right? Simply wasn't able to do much more than kill Yusa. Tsunami wasn't really able to do much of anything, and the rest of the team just... They are just meatballs. That's all they are. They're just meatballs floating around the pasta dish. They're good at soaking up the sauce, but don't really do much else.
Soaking up for the sauce.
I don't know where I was going with it. I don't know what I was going to say.
You're making me hungry now, you know. And also, okay, Orcs.
I could go for some meatballs right now.
Godsent's struggling to close out with 5k. Can I interest you in a 9k Godsent gold lead?
Yeah, it's nearly 10k actually. Just under. So that's a lot. And it is how I would define that. Substantial is another way. Godsent gonna push this up, and yeah, I think that tower's a goner.
Wouldn't be surprised. It's going to fall, and they could continue the push here. Members of KOVA are their defense. Tsunami will be able to do a decent amount of damage, a decent amount of wave clear, but does need to be very careful, because if the Ziggs goes down, that could well be all she wrote for KOVA in this game. And we talk about how crucial this one is. Godsent winning this game gives them a very, very nice head-to-head.
Yep.
Actually, no, because it's KOVA who have the 1-0 record right now. So it will tie up the head-to-head, which is just as crucial. And it will give them a little bit of a light going forward into the last couple of games, because neither of these teams want to go down to relegations, and beating your opponent in that race is vital.
Absolutely. I mean, these are the big wins. You know, winning against the other teams, the top teams in your group is nice, but it's harder to do. And also, those are the ones you're going into relegations, potentially, you know, matching up with regards to relegations, because if you end up having a bad head-to-head against one of these teams, it can be just doomed for you. So very important that Godsent are able to close this one out. A lot of damage is coming in, though. We've seen some Tsunami at this point on the Ziggs. They are looking to contest this Infernal Soul take. Ideally, Tsunami wants to be landing some poke here, so we'll see if he gets a chance or if Godsent just engage.
Godsent hanging around. They've got members mid, and they're just waiting, holding the line until the dragon spawns up. It will be on the map now, roaring into the rift. And Godsent going to be the ones starting this one up. KOVA need to fight for this. They really cannot afford to give up the Infernal Soul with their base cracked. And damage coming through. Yusa at the back. Be careful, though. Simply's found his way onto him. Kubu's gone godlike, but Yusa is just nowhere near this fight. Aesthetic chased away as well, as the Kaiser going to be caught up by the Trinity. He's not going to take any more damage as he does go down. How many can Simply take? He's taken one, but that might be it, though, as members of KOVA, again, it's just the meatball. Sturmy on the side, trying to dip his fingers in the dish. Will be able to find one, as Outlandish actually also going to get away. 6-10 and Kubu stand. KOVA have to with their jungler. So this could actually be a steal angle for Outlandish if he holds on to the charge. But Sturby going to be taken over the wall. He's bleeding, but not too much. He's not hemorrhaging fully as the dragon goes below 2k health. Outlandish. He dashes over the wall, though. Now he's going to take the blast over. They're going to try and get it, but it's stolen by Sturmy of all people. 6-10 needs to turn again to second one. He will be able to secure the kill. But okay. Dragon goes down, and it's KOVA who secure it.
Yeah, it's a win. It's an absolute win. It was not clean, but they get it, and that's the important thing. We see. So here's the problem here, right? Watch Tsunami, okay? So he's like, I'm doing good here. You know, I'm throwing a thing. Oh no. Okay, I'm on the fight. That's the fight over Tsunami. That's all he got to do. On the other side, you can see Simply. Look at this Trinity popping off, doing so much work here. But Tsunami's just nowhere near. You know, he did throw a bomb down before and finish off the Rumble. For the most part, he's not participating. And then Taturi's like buying so much space here. But again, he just doesn't do that much damage. I feel like some grievous wounds for him. A Bramble Vest would have been good. I feel like, you know, Titanic would have been good. But I relent. At the end of the day, they still got the dragon, which is an important thing. But I think Tsunami might be in trouble.
Oh, we're going to burn. That's a lot of damage coming down, but he will be able to step away. Actually, feeling okay. The inhibitors are going to be starting to come back up. A little bit less pressure on the KOVA side. And hey, they're looking for the fight. They're looking for the engage. Jara moving forward. They've got Mundo in there as well. So much damage is being thrown down by every quadrant. And members are burning through again. Look at the back. The Tryndamere is just doing so much work. Yusa has to go golden once again. But members of KOVA are all falling upon him. How long can Yusa stay alive? He gets flashed on and finally he gets taken out. Outlandish securing that one. But Mundo is going to be burnt low. He's going to be cut down. It's the close ace. Outlandish gets away. But again, 6-10 and Kubu survive the fight. And they're going to move towards these inhibitors.
And this is the problem, is that it's so much on Simply and Tsunami finding these damage in these fights that even though they took down some members, you know, Aesthetic blown up extremely quickly. We see Yusa going down. Aesthetic didn't even get a chance to alter Zhonya's, by the way. but it doesn't matter. You know, the carries die for KOVA, and Godsent have enough
Going for the game.
tank to finish out now. Alex needs to clear the wave here.
Gonna be
I don't
throwing
think we're
back
fine for a
because
replay.
Six-headed Kubo just going for the game ender.
There's no
Remember, going through.
minions.
Tiara is there looking for the CC, looking for the stun. No damage is up for another 3 seconds. They might be able to get a second tower. Are they gonna look towards the Nexus? I'm not sure. They're looking to take the fight as Kubo
Let me
staying
see it,
alive.
let me
Outlandish
see
is dumped. They are cutting KOVA to ribbons. Tiara goes down for the double. Kubo is like, you shouldn't have been focusing my carries. I'm the carry here. Damage coming through, and they're gonna be able to secure the game. Godsent grab themselves a vital win over KOVA in just the messiest fashion possible.
Yeah, it was not clean. That was not clean or calculated, but it was a win. And a win is a win is my slogan on that one. Yeah, dub is a dub. There's a lot of moments, a lot of mess. I feel like KOVA had this great idea and the execution was just not there. I feel like there's a lot of things I was excited to see. And you saw glimmers of it. You know, you saw the Trinity, how it could function like the team fights, but it felt like the setups, they were struggling with the setups, and also Snoomy just couldn't find a way to position where he just wasn't constantly being threatened. And all these bruisers, the Aurelia, the Darius, just doing so much work in these fights. And the gold lead, obviously, a massive factor as well. So I think Godsent played this one better. I think KOVA came with a cool idea, but just couldn't pull it together. It was definitely a mess, but it was a lot of fun. So yeah, well played to Godsent, and a good job equalizing that head-to-head.
Yeah, really great play. We're actually going to speak to Kubu in the top lane after this short break to find out what he thought about the game. So don't go anywhere. We'll see in a few minutes.